10 pivotal moments that changed my trading. I went from blowing up my account in the first year to finally making consistent profits for the past two. This journey took me 4 years and a lot of heartache and pain. To save you the pain, here are 10 pivotal moments that changed my trading, so hopefully you can learn something too. This is Unbiased Trading, and let's get right into this. First was understanding my personality. When I first started trading, I thought I could be a trader of any type of asset, but I quickly realized that being a large cap trader wasn't the right fit for me. It was too slow and I needed volatility, leading me down the route to small caps. I later realized that I did this for a need for adrenaline. I love the excitement of trading small caps, even if it did mean more risk. Now, maybe looking back, this was potentially a wrong decision for me to have that reason to pick small caps. But fundamentally, it was the type of trader that I feel more comfortable being. I like putting on risk. I do like trading something that's more volatile. I like getting in and out. Not anymore necessarily so fast, but I like that not having to wait days for a setup, for example. Now, I have become way more patient over time. So some of these things obviously have nuance to them. But at least at the beginning, large caps just wasn't the right fit for me. And I would do so many mistakes simply because I was waiting for trades and I needed that kind of volatility. Two is dedicating time for screen time. This was a slow change, but was pivotal to changing my trading. Every day I devoted at least 4 hours to watch the markets and dissect price action. I would later dedicate this time to data analysis, but this was crucial for me to build up the ideas that I would later kind of use to backtest and use data for. I learned that the more time I spent watching the markets, the better I understood them. I could see patterns forming and make better trading decisions, which would later be really enhanced by using data. Next is trading small size. My blowups came from over-leveraging. I was trading way too much size for my risk tolerance. The easy fix was to trade less size. It was the harsh truth and I never really wanted to accept it. But it took time, but was monumental to my progress once I started actually trading appropriate size. I learned that it's better to make 10 small profits than just one huge loss because I'm trading way too much size for my account. To put it in some perspective, it's very easy when you start out with a small account. I believe I started around with $4,000 or so. You can risk, 10, 20%, maybe 30% on a trade because you really want to get as much, like the biggest win as possible. You see all these huge P&Ls on Twitter and you let that kind of change your way of thinking. You think you need to be making that kind of money to make it like sustainable in trading, which is just not true. Like I was in my first 2 years of trading, I should have been risking $5, $10. And obviously I made those mistakes. Countless other traders have made those mistakes as well. But I will say, don't feel bad that it takes you time to learn this lesson. It's same thing in trading. Most of the time, it's the most obvious lessons that you need to do, but you put them off for so long. And that's why I'm a big advocate for trying to get people to actually do proper backtesting. It's an easy thing for people to be like, oh, I'll do it, later when I have more time or when I'm a profitable trader. But that's the same way I thought when I was going to be like, oh, I'll take risk more seriously once I'm more profitable. It's such backwards thinking. It doesn't really make sense. And it's just you trying to avoid pain. And I can say this from the place that I did this myself. And it's very easy to trick yourself into thinking you're doing the right kind of move. Next is creating a playbook. Simply taking a strategy off YouTube or a mentor is great, but I rarely actually understood it. I spent over a week refining my strategies and building out a thorough playbook detailing each setup. This provided me clarity in my trading decisions, and I knew exactly what I was looking for and how to trade it. A big thanks to Mike Bellafiore because he pretty much created this idea or this system of creating playbooks, and it was something I spent a lot of time doing. Now, I won't say this, turned my trading around straight away, but this was something that was key to allow me to actually go down the route further, which we'll kind of discuss. Next is using data. After my first year, I realized discretionary trading wasn't the fastest path to success for me. I was simply making mistakes from lack of experience. So I turned to data to guide my decision making. I started backtesting my strategies and looking for patterns. This put me on the track to actually have my first profitable year after I seriously started looking at data. Now, I will say I'm being a bit advantageous that I have somewhat of background in statistics and using data and somewhat in code as well. So this was easier transition for me than maybe other people, and I was playing to my strengths here. But I will say everyone should use data. I have seen traders that are phenomenal prop traders at discretionary trading, but they only get better once they start using data. I wouldn't say it's like a one or off. You can't only use data or only use discretion. You can be hybrid and you can have a spectrum of how much data you use to back up your discretionary thinking. The quickest way to summarize why I thought data would be better for me than discretionary trading is because realistically, if you have 10 years of experience trading, you have 10 years of trades, experiences, moments, lessons, mistakes that you have learned over those years that kind of make your sample test or your database to use on when you are trading and you have all those references to older trades. Now, if you're in your first year or in your second year, you have none of that. You have, a year of maybe very human bias kind of databases on trades that you really had no idea what you were doing, at least from my experience. So data is allowing you to kind of shortcut that to some extent. Obviously, I'm not saying it's as good as being 10 years of trading experience, but it definitely is way better than just having 1 year of very human bias kind of experience. Next is building conviction. A byproduct of using data to guide my trading was an enormous increase in conviction. Since I had data proving my strategy was profitable, I just had to consistently execute it. Conviction really does come from evidence. I no longer second guessed my trades, I knew I was right, and that gave me the confidence to take action. Now, obviously, that didn't mean I didn't lose on trades, and this is just a sample backtest that I've thrown up for reference on this kind of screen here. But this allowed me to have conviction to know that, okay, over 100 trades, 200 trades, I will end up profitable if I can just stick to this consistent execution. Now, I will say this is so much easier once you have data. It's easy to say if you are, discretionary and you've done a small kind of like backtest of like maybe 30, 40 trades. That's good. It's a good starting point. But there is a next level of conviction once you've done a proper backtest and everything. You've gone through all the kind of like A to Z's of it, of where you're like, okay, this strategy definitely has edge, and now I just need to consistently execute it, and that's pretty much it. Next was understanding robustness testing. My first backtests were plagued with basic analysis and testing issues. So the next pivot was understanding this and actually fixing it. I did this by consuming a lot of information on the topic I could, which was about robustness, backtesting, statistics, generally in trading. I read books, watched videos, and talked to other traders as well that were better than me. This helped me understand the importance of robustness testing and how to actually do it properly. I will say robustness testing is very difficult in trading sometimes because trading is inherently random. And what you're trying to do here is you're trying to see within the randomness and within thousands of simulations or different ways of testing it, will your strategy have a higher probability of surviving? Now, this is to say that it will survive. In trading, we can't really talk in certainties like that, but we can say, well, this has got over 1,000 simulations, 900 of them, or even maybe more, have been profitable. That gives you a huge amount of certainty, which is just close to certainty, but not. Obviously that can be the 1% of the times where it doesn't work, but it is still a worthwhile activity to do, as it definitely builds conviction and it definitely filters out a lot of really bad strategies that look great on a simple backtest, but over 1,000 simulations, they're just actually not very good. Next was tracking my mistakes. Originally, I had a huge list of all the mistakes I was making in my trading. This was impactful, very impractical, and very overwhelming. So instead, I simply focused on the most frequent and costly mistakes in my trading, giving me tunnel vision until those were actually fixed. This helped me identify the areas where I needed to improve the most. Now, shout out to Be the Trader for this idea. I think I originally heard it from him, or maybe someone else, maybe Brian Lee. But it was definitely a combination of those two that really pushed me to kind of take this seriously. And this was a really good way to track my mistakes and stop getting overwhelmed by the 15 mistakes I'm making on a daily basis when you're kind of new. And actually just focus on, okay, so these ones are holding me back the most. Let me just focus on those. The rest are obviously going to happen most likely, but let's just get rid of the ones that cost me the most money. Next is networking. Trading can be a really lonely game, and there's no direct need for other people inherently in trading, but this will hold you back. Since putting in the time sharing my journey and providing free value to bigger traders and other traders just on Twitter and in general spaces, networking has improved my trading in thousands of ways. I've learned new strategies, gotten feedback on my trading, and made valuable connections to just get a general idea of different ideas of strategies, or whether if my way of thinking maybe isn't correct and someone else has a more thorough or more experienced way of looking at it. Next, and lastly, is focusing on the long game. Turning 1,000 into 10,000 in free trades is how trading is marketed to lure in the masses. It definitely works on me, and I know it works on quite a lot of people, but this thinking made me rush the process. I was always looking for a quick fix. Now, with a 5-year game plan, I've seen my trading improve tremendously. I'm not worried about making a quick buck here and there. I'm focused on building sustainable and profitable trading strategies and actually focusing on my trading career overall. Now, these are the 10 key pivotal moments in my trading career over the past 4 years trading full time. I hope they help you on your own trading journey, and thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like it and share it with anyone else who might be interested. And I've got a special announcement that the bootcamp will be reopening very soon, so I'll do a video about that. And we have another special thing coming out very soon that I think the trading community is going to love. It includes AI. I'll give away some small parts about it, but it does include AI, and I think people really like it. Thank you very much.